All right, so we're going to talk about passports for children, particularly under 16 that have never had a passport before. We are looking at going on a cruise later this year. It's going to be taking place about 3 weeks before my passport expires, so I'm just going to get mine renewed before that. But we need to get one for baby G. She's 3 and she's never had one, so just trying to navigate through the process. I am at the post office right now in Mustang, Oklahoma, where we have an appointment coming up in I think 2 weeks, because for children that have never had passports, you have to come in personally with them. Both parents have to be present, assuming they're alive and available. Both parents have to be there. You have to send off the original birth certificate. And I had some questions today about what we as the parents would need to bring as far as our documentation to prove that we are, her parents. So just basically for that, any photo ID will do, as long as it's valid and unexpired. So I'll bring, driver's license, my retired military ID, my current passport that's not expired. Wife G will bring, her driver's license, maybe her passport. We're going to cover the bases, have some options for them. And then another question that I had, actually I had 2 other questions that, as you're talking to the people here, things come up and, you go bing, 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 the lights go off. But I was wondering about how do you annotate or, mark down the height of the person that is getting the passport. So like later today, we're going to break out the tape measure and measure baby G's height. And I know that I am 6 feet tall, AKA 72 inches tall. It's one of those numbers that gets burned into your mind if you've, if you've been in the military, particularly if you've been in the Army, because they love doing height and weight on you every time you do a PT test. So I know absolutely that I am 72 inches tall. But my question is, do we mark that down as inches or as feet in inches? Because when you look at the form, and particularly if it's a PDF that you're filling out online or on your computer, it doesn't really indicate how you are supposed to fill that out. The blocks are not necessarily enough that you could write out the feet in inches, like a number and then FT and then another number and then IN, or with the apostrophe and the quotation marks to indicate feet in inches. So I asked about that, and the answer that they gave me was to in fact use feet and inches. So when I get home later, I will make those changes on the PDFs. And of course, when you have to print these out, they don't want you bringing in a USB drive or anything, because they can't access it. So you have to bring in the hard copies and single-sided printouts. One sheet of paper per page of information, not front and back, just on the front. So there's that. And then let's see. Oh, and then the payments. When you go online to, set up your appointment to come in and do this, it breaks down how much money you have to pay for these things. Particularly, it says that the post office wants a $35 passport acceptance fee, and they want $15 for the photo. Excuse me. So there's that, but then they also say that, there's fees for the State Department, which they don't list. So you have to go over to the State Department's website, and it says, hey, if you want a passport book, it's this much. If you want a passport card, it's this much. So we're getting passport books, and that'll be in another $100. So I asked about that, and it also specifies the different payment methods you can use, and it specifies that at the post office, you can use a debit card, you can use cash, you can use a check, money order, whatever. But it specifically says that for the State Department fees, you cannot use a debit card. And the clerk here at the post office said that yes, you can, because they're going to take your debit card and you're going to buy a money order with it, which I guess that's indirect. She still wasn't getting. She wasn't getting it that the State Department says you cannot use a debit card. It's like, well, yes, you can, because you can't directly do it. So we're probably just going to write a check for that. And I would prefer to use, depending on when this happens during the month, I'll look at some other things, but we'll probably just use the debit card to pay for that. But she said that if we wanted to use a check and don't fill it out ahead of time, because we might want expedited processing or overnight shipping or things of that nature, which I do not think that will be that case. It'll be the case because, we're not going to need this until, maybe November. So we have plenty of time because it's not even July yet. It'll be July like in what, 2 days. So we have plenty of time for the processing, and I have no doubt that we'll be able to get this done in time. So there you have it, folks. A couple things to keep in mind if you are renewing a passport for yourself, but more specifically, getting a brand new first-time passport for a child. Keep in mind that you will be bringing in their original birth certificate, and you'll be sending that off as part of the application packet, if you will, and that they will return that original birth certificate to you within 8 weeks of your sending in the application. So there you have it. Thanks for watching.